Experiences with Krishnamurti and His Teachings, Part 2. My association with Krishnamurti. From 1979 to 1986 in India. Harshad Parekh. I have written about how I came into contact with Krishnamurti's teachings in 1972, about his impact on my life in USA and Canada, about my meeting with him at Brockwood in 1979 and about my coming to Rishi Valley in a separate article. After my joining Rishi Valley as a teacher in November 1979, Krishnamurti visited Rishi Valley every year for a month and held discussions with teachers and students. I was present during these discussions and participated in some of them. In this article, I remember Krishnamurti with the help of diaries I maintained during those years. I arrived in Rishi Valley for the first time on November 9, 1979. The school van came to pick me up from Madanpalli. As the van entered the school, I saw Krishnamurti walking elegantly on the main road. When the van reached the new guest house, everything looked wonderful in the evening light. I felt that this place would be my home. One day in 1979, we had lunch with Krishnamurti. The teachers present were Mr. Narayan, Shanti Menon, Mishraji, and Hanumant Rao. Krishnamurti talked with Shanti Menon about English literature. Then he said to me, "You come from Canada. You must be bored in this place." I said, "Rishi Valley is a beautiful place." We talked more about Canada, the place where I lived and worked. Then we talked about teaching students without comparing them. I said, when we go to a classroom and ask a question to students, the intelligent students answer the question immediately and then other students would feel inferior. They compare themselves with intelligent students. The feeling of comparison exists within them even if we do not compare them. Krishnamurti said, "Of course." Sometimes Krishnamurti looked at me when I was looking down at my plate. At one time during the lunch, he said, "I am glad that I have no son." Then he wanted to know my feeling. I said to myself, that is not true. Many people think of you as father. In 1980. K arrived in Rishi Valley in the morning on November 22 along with Mary Zimbalist, Dr. Parchara, and Nandini Mehta. K looked well with innocent smile and silvery hair. On November 28, there was a teachers' meeting with K. He asked, "Do you have the vision of the whole? Do you have a vision of what this school could be? Are you passionate about anything? Do you have a mission in life with sustained energy? Come on, all of you. I am challenging you." He also said, if you have a vision, there can be no fear. If you have no vision, then talking will be intellectual and meaningless. Mr. Narayan was feeling tense while speaking. K asked him if he was free from prejudice. Jaya asked many ordinary questions, but he listened with seriousness. He made her realize the futility of analysis. Jaya was touched by K's love. Tears were sparkling in her eyes and K also tried to wipe his eyes. On December 1, K talked with teachers from various schools in India and abroad. He talked about knowledge, memory, conditioning, learning. He became very passionate when Jaya asked some questions. He was very gentle with her. He said there is no effort involved if one knows how to listen. Understanding does not come through thinking, which is a material process. On December 3, there was another teachers' discussion with K. This was the first time I participated in the discussion with K. He talked about two streams of learning about matter and learning about the mind. He said that there was a conflict between the two. Both kinds of learning involved accumulation of information. He asked, is there a different kind of learning which does not involve effort and accumulation of information? At one point he asked, is there anything to learn? Then he said there is nothing to learn. Pupilji asked, how can one accept such a statement? K asked again, do you accept what I said? No one answered. I said, yes, I accept. K said, this is the most illogical, absurd thing to accept. Do you accept? I said, yes, I accept. K said, explain to Pupilji why you accept. I said to Pupilji, if you have problems, you find it necessary to learn about yourself. But if you are free, there is nothing to learn. K said, you used the word if. I said, there is no absolute truth in a verbal statement. K asked, what is learning? I said, to see things as they are. K said, you are repeating my words. I said, no sir. K talked about the danger of a poisonous snake and the danger of opinions. He said that both involve conditioning. I said, but the two things are different. The danger of a cobra is an instinct for survival and it is a form of intelligence. The opinions are not instinct of survival. He said, that is what I am saying. A teacher from Bangalore school asked K, is there nothing to learn? K answered, nothing. The teacher got up and said, I got your point. He left the meeting. Later K asked, why did he leave the meeting? He has not understood. Mr. Narayan said, maybe there was a sudden flash of Zen Suth or E. Kabir said, he is an immature, impatient young man. On December 5th, K talked about beauty. He asked, what is beauty? I answered, clear perception without images. He said, that is just a theory. I said, no, sir. I look at everything with clear eyes and no images. In that there is beauty which cannot be described in words. Earlier he said we talked about two streams of learning. There is conflict between the two in our daily life. Also there is no learning for a man who is free. This is a complex thing and I will not go into it. Then he looked at me and said, don't agree with what I am saying. There was nothing to agree or disagree with him. What he said was true for him and so it was for me. He talked about the state of mind of a child who is absorbed in a toy. He asked what has happened to the mind of the child. I answered, his attention is narrowed down. He was probably impressed by this answer as I could see a flash in his eyes. He asked, what is your relationship with your students? I answered, I enjoy looking at them. He asked, what do you mean by that? I preferred to keep silence. He asked, whom do I challenge? For a few seconds, no one responded. Then I said, sir, you can challenge me. I also said, sir, why do we narrow down our relationship with students? What is our relationship to people and everything? He asked, what is your relationship with your husband or wife? Mr. N answered, we have no relationship. Mr. T answered, it is a relationship of convenience. K asked, have you told that to your wife? K said, teaching is the greatest profession in the world. Teaching is to create a new generation of boys and girls. Oh, I wish there were more flowers in Rishi Valley. This is not asking in time. I am not interested in time. When he said this, I was deeply touched by his passion to create flowering human beings. I said to myself, yes. Rishi Valley would flower with beautiful human beings. Mrs. S., who was sitting far, said it is 10 minutes after 11. She had not understood what K was talking about time. K became angry and said, what are you talking about? It was not her fault. On December 6th, there was a teachers' meeting with K. Some organizational changes were made in Rishi Valley. Rajesh would be in charge of junior school, Venkatraman to be in charge of senior school, Mrs. Thomas would act as headmistress and Mr. Narayan to continue acting as the principal. Then K talked about how to approach a problem. I said you can approach a problem only if you have no problem. There was a flash in the minds of some teachers. K said I will not be here for long. I am already a dead man. Only 4 or 5 years may have been left. What is the future of this school? Do you have a vision of what this place would be? On December 7th, there was another discussion with teachers. He said investigation begins when thought stops. I said as long as there is investigation, thought operates. When thought stops, what is there to investigate? Pupilji said with other teachers of philosophy, ending of thought is the final goal. With Krishnaji, it is the beginning. Is that right? K said yes. He did not say about what is the nature of investigation in which thought is absent. He talked about affection, religion, and meditation. Mrs. Indira Gandhi visited Rishi Valley on December 20th. K left Rishi Valley on December 22nd. In 1981. On January 10th, I came very close to K in Vasanth Vihar. I wanted to talk with him but I could not because of my shyness. I greeted him with Namaste and he reciprocated. On April 18th, I wrote a letter to Krishnaji. Beloved Krishnamurtiji. This is Harshad Parekh, a teacher at Rishi Valley School. I am writing to you after almost 2 years. You visited Rishi Valley in 1979 and 1980. But we could not talk with each other because of my shyness and your very busy schedule. Also, I had no personal questions to ask. I have been teaching here for about a year and a half. This has been one of the happiest times in my life. This has been a good time for my mental and spiritual development. I had good opportunities to discuss your teachings with many teachers, students, and visitors. We have had challenging discussions in the staff meetings every week. I enjoyed teaching maths and physics in classrooms where time flew fast. I have very good feelings for all teachers and students, and everyone, here at Rishi Valley. I hope to be here for 1 more year. After I have completed 2 years of teaching at Rishi Valley, I would like to teach at some other K school in India or abroad. Since I am a citizen of Canada, I had written a letter to Dr. Sidhu at Wolf Lake School. I received a letter from her 2 days ago. She wrote that Wolf Lake School would be closed for a year and if it reopens, she would prefer a teacher who would stay there for many years. She advised me to write to other K schools. Krishnaji, I would like to teach or do some other work at Ojai or Brockwood Park schools if there is any opportunity. It is quite hot here at Rishi Valley during these months of March, April, and May. Our bodies are constantly perspiring during the day. But this place is as beautiful as ever with bluish hills, red earth, thousands of green trees and bright and colorful flowers. With love and the best wishes for your health and work. Yours truly. Harshad Parekh. Note: recently I met Pandit Gopi Krishna who lives in New Delhi and Srinagar. He writes books about Kundalini. He had met you once in Sanan. He said Krishnamurti is an honest teacher unlike other spiritual gurus. But we have differences of opinions. Rishis, who wrote Upanishads, also differed with one another. End of Part 2. Harshad Parekh.